Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Park Board special meeting for Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Member Scott.
Here.
Member Collier.
Here.
Member Manson.
Here.
Member Troutman.
Here.
Member Cooper.
Here.
Member Mapes.
Present.
Member Keys.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we'll move into Pledge Allegiance. Okay, we're going to move next into new business. Item A, Missouri Department of Conservation CAPS Amendment. Director?
Thank you, sir. As soon as this item is over, before board member comments, we do have a couple of updates from the department that weren't listed on the agenda. So this particular item, I'm going to call on Mr. Brennan. No, not okay. No, I'll take this one. This is the Department of Conservation CAPS agreement. This is the community assistance program that legally partners the Department of Conservation with the city on management of Recreation Park Pond and Johnston Lake at Hawkridge Park. This particular item is an addendum to that agreement. It was officially adopted in 2016, and then we amended that agreement, so officially it started over in 2019. This does not change the nature of that. In 2019, we basically added Rec Park to the contract, so both lakes are on the same 25-year amendment or contract. What this is an addendum. Specifically to Johnson Lake, this is a 50-50 partnership between the Department of Conservation and the city, which is basically a 50% cost share that the Conservation Department would chip in for a project specifically on Johnston Lake. This project is a boat ramp and a maintenance access drive that is not open to the public. This is for maintenance purposes only. The ramp itself is to provide our aquatic control, who is currently our contractor, but the Department of Conservation that access the Johnston Lake to treat it for aquatic vegetation, weeds and stuff, allows them to be able to launch their boat in the water and treat it the way it needs to be done. It also provides access for our own maintenance boats to work on the fountains when we have to do that. The trail goes from the shelter on the south side of the park right up by the bridge and launches into the boat ramp. So that is more of a geotech. It looks like grass, but it's reinforced gravel and plastic, so it's not an asphalt driveway. That is for us to be able to drive on there and not tear up the surface. So both projects were combined into one. We bid this out. We worked so that we would have a cost estimate. We worked with the Department of Conservation. Step number one is approval of the CAPS amendment. We need the park board and the city council to approve this so that the state can go in and do their approvals. We're the first step of that project. We also have submitted permits, the historic permits and the clean water permit. Since we're actually working into the water lake, it triggers another permit. Those are being processed right now. Finally, once all those steps are done, if this is a project that the board wants, we would actually bring the contract for construction to you. We have bid that out. We are issuing an award of contract, which basically secures that contractor for this work, and it allows them to secure their subcontractors to hold pricing. If we choose not to do that, we revoke that award of contract and everybody goes their separate ways. But just the process of how it goes. Essentially what we're doing tonight is we're amending our CAPS agreement to do a cost share program for 50% of the cost of this project to install a maintenance boat ramp and an access drive. That boat ramp will have a bollard on there, so not just anybody can do it. It will be signed. There'll be signage on there saying it's a maintenance only, not for public use. Now, people can walk on it and fish, they just don't access it. I don't have, and I'm not at liberty to give the price of the contract yet. I will say our cost portion of that would be somewhere in the range of 26,000. So they would be providing somewhere in the range of 26,000, give or take some change. But that's about what we're looking at. I am happy to answer any questions for you. Outside of that, the what? Oh, I can, yes. Actually, in the ordinance, the 50% of the construction is $28,028. So it included, there was a contingency they required us to add on to that. So that is the specific price. Steve brought up a good point, just for your own background knowledge. This particular project was not one, we wanted the boat ramp, the Department of Conservation wanted the boat ramp because they're having to wheelbarrow out the fish when they stock the lake. And so this is really more to their benefit than to ours. It's kind of fun watching them wheelbarrow those fish out there. So this is a great project for them. They actually, the Department of Conservation actually went to the Lead Center at Ray-Pec High School and submitted this as a project for students to design. And so we took the idea of this project based off a presentation that Ray-Pec High School Lead Center provided for us, and it was a pretty detailed project description. I actually took it and we revised it a little bit to fit better, and we submitted their actual drawings into the RFP. So they were a pretty integral part of this. So it's now they're not giving us any money, so we can't give them any of that credit, but it was a great project, and the kids did a good job, and Department of Conservation was really pleased with that. And so that's where we kind of stepped in and said, you know what, we'll move forward with that and see this. If approved, this would require a budget amendment. There is no funding for this. We would go into our fund balance of either the Hawk Ridge Park projects that are currently going on, or look into our fund balance of just our capital program and see where the best fit of that money is. That would be something that we would deal with when we bring the construction contract to you guys. I've talked enough. Any questions?
Any questions for the director? Nope, doesn't see any. How would you like us to proceed?
Need a
Motion.
to approve the addendum.
Okay, fair enough.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I move that the board approves an amendment to the Community Assistance Program with the Missouri Department of Conservation for construct of a maintenance access road and boat ramp.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a first and second. Any discussion? Nope, seeing none. Then we'll go to vote. All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Very good. So next steps would be this goes to City Council for their review, and provided the timing of the permits get awarded to us, hopefully the next meeting at the end of July, we would see a construction contract coming. If not, it would be in August meeting. The contractor, just a bit of more information. They're not in a major hurry. They've got plenty of work over the summer, so our timeline benefits them as well, which is why they're willing to hold their price for us, because they've just got some projects backed up. So it's kind of working out in their favor as well. But thank you, and I'll move right into a couple of staff updates. First of all, last night, the mayor recognized the Parks and Rec Department and the Park Board specifically for Parks and Recreation Month. And so I brought the proclamation, if you guys want to see that. I am not going to read it, but the main thing that was stated in that proclamation is: the mayor encourages all citizens and guests to celebrate Parks and Rec Month by visiting Raymore's 300-plus acres of parkland. That includes 7 parks, 4 linear parks, 20 miles of trails, an amphitheater, ice rink, spray ground, athletic fields, shelters, Centerview event space, Raymore Activity Center, or participate in one of our leagues, programs, and community events. I think that pretty much sums up what we do pretty well. We had several of the staff members attend and were presented this by the mayor last night. So just if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, thanks for what you're doing, well, there's a month for that. So this is what it is. It's not just out of the blue. There's a purpose for why they're telling you thank you. And we have 2 opportunities for volunteering coming up. You're going to receive an email from Melissa Harmer, and the next week, probably tomorrow, I would say, now that I'm telling you guys, and she told the Arts Commission, but Culver's is doing a fundraiser for the Raymore Community Foundation, which the Park Foundation is a part of that. And then they got the Arts Foundation, Police, and Animal Control. Culver's a specific night, and that will all be in the details. They're going to do a fundraiser where a percentage of all the sales go to the foundation, and then is split evenly between the 4 just to fund that foundation up. She is asking for volunteers from the boards to help that night. It's one of those where we're delivering the foods from the window to the cars. You know how Culver's line up? They give you the bag of food with the ticket, and then you go to the ticket, and it's really just, hey, I'm Nathan with Parks and Rec. Thanks for your support. Enjoy your meal. And then you go. And so they're just looking for some volunteers to run a couple shifts that night to help do that, because that's how they're able to process and do more orders when they're not running food. So opportunity coming up for you guys on that. And then we had our first meeting today. Well, it was my first meeting. I think my staff have been meeting on it before, but on the mini mud run coming up August 16th. And we are going to make some changes to the event this year, specifically adding some additional obstacles, kind of making a little longer course, doing some cool stuff. Volunteers for that's going to be critical, so we're reaching out to you guys to put that on your calendar. If you can help at all and volunteer to help run those stations, we can use you this year more than any other year that we've had, because parking, not that we'll put you on parking, but if we do our staff parking, it takes staff away from being on the stations. And the Optimist Club is a great helper, but there's some areas that they just physically can't get to, and so we need to be able to put some adult bodies in those areas. So August 16th is a Friday night. It's usually about 2.5 hours of time, and if you're ever going to volunteer for an event, that's the one to do, because it's a blast. And my last update before we're done is I was guest speaker at the Optimist Club this morning as part of, they invited me months ago. It just timed out that it was also Parks and Rec month. So they donated $500 and issued a check to us for the mini mud run as part of their sponsorship for that, in addition to their volunteerism. That's the updates we got, and that concludes staff report. We'll move on to board member comment, if so moved.
Okay, board member comments. We'll start with you, Josh.
Congratulations on the 4th of July, the fireworks event that happened not on the 4th of July, but I believe it was on the 29th or 30th, and you got that in just in time before the rain. So I don't know who the meteorologist is around here, but they did a good job. And then thank you for the donations, and thank you for the recognition on Parks and Recreation Month. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Ken?
I don't know if I could add anything to that, so I'll just say, like he said.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Dan?
No comments today.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Patrick?
No new comments.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Let me pull my list out. All right.
Chris, go ahead.
All right, first off, I want to thank the Optimist Club for that generous donation. That was quite, that's always something noteworthy when that organization shows its appreciation, and more importantly, shows its generosity. And like Josh pointed out, the fire department didn't have to overwork on the 4th. and it went off without a hit or without a fire. Also, I appreciate what the staff's done, and I look forward in the future to that boat ramp, wherever it is.
Thank you, Bill. Chris?
No comment.
Thank you, sir. Just wanted to reach out on a couple of things. First off, a shout out to the police department and South Metro Fire Department, along with our own crews on the 4th of July event. It was impressive considering all day long we were battling weather. I know I was part of the emails, texts, everything, phone calls going out on what was moving, what was not. And I think a lot of our citizens had no idea. They just had a good time, and it went off without a hitch, and I agree. The meteorologist was on fire because it was literally perfect timing. People left the parking lot, and the storms came, so that was perfect. Also want to shout out to the mayor and city council for all the nice things they said about our parks department. They had a short meeting, about 35 minutes, and about 27 of them were about Nathan and his staff, which as board members, that tells you how lucky we are to have such a good group behind us and with us when we work through this. So I appreciate that. The last thing I'll say is, board members, I would hope that we get involved in these two needs for the Culvers and the mud run. It's good that people see our faces out there, and it's good to see us working. So please sign up if you can. I understand it's summertime, but it's definitely a needed part. So with that, we are done. So I will ask for a adjournment motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Hearing a first and second, all those in favor? All right. 7-0, meeting adjourned.